Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here today. Also the mascot, our cat, my cat, is probably about to make an appearance. Just wanted you to know that. If you wonder what's going on over here. Gaia's probably gonna jump behind me. So, hi everyone. It's good to see everyone. We're so excited to be here and see you. Hi. I'm just waiting for our guest to join us. Oh, there he is. Okay. If you've not heard me already say, Gaia the cat is going to probably make an appearance. So we're going to, if she does, just say hi to her. Just drop a little cat emoji. Thank you. Thank you, Fam Glenn. Appreciate it. Hi in the UK. Yes, hello. Oh, thank you, Christopher. It's so nice. I figure if I'm going to be nearsighted, right, I might as well have fun with it. Hey, everyone. And then we'll get Hillary in. How is everyone? How's everyone been? There's Jack.
Hey,
Hey, Jack.
how are
So good.
you?
Good. How are you?
It's terrific. I'm very
It's,
well, thank you.
it's always good to see you.
It's so good to see you too.
um, Hillary should be coming in shortly, and then we will get started. I like that plant in the background. Hey, Catherine. It's very nice, Jack.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, so
Plants are good
just
for the soul, so
yes, yes, they are. All right, let me see where Hillary is. Let me see. She should be in a second. This is my favorite time to like be in the live kind of because I get to say hi to everybody, Jack.
okay. I'm
And
with it.
I
I'm
know,
with it.
right? Just say hi too. Hey, there she
Hi.
Hello
is.
there.
Sorry.
Hi, Hillary. No worries, no worries. I was just telling Jack how much I love the early part of the live because
Oh, she's a pro at it. Like her
The on
energy is like designed for this. See, when
the
I get
onboarding.
on, yeah, no,
Uh,
when I get on, I'm like, all right, like let me let the guests in. Like I'm just not, it's just not my thing. But she's so good at it.
anyway, it's like seeing new friends. But so thank you everyone for joining, and we're excited that you're here because we cannot wait to tell you about Splitify for you to learn about Splitify and get to know our friend Jack who is the brains behind Splitify.
Yes.
Splitify is also the sponsor of the show, so we're grateful for them and helping us spread more changing of the narrative and positivity around the divorce experience, creating community that matters for the people that are going through this. So, thank you, Jack. I'm going to introduce you, and then Hillary will throw you the question, and we're going to pin something to the live so everyone can like go and find out about Splitify. It's really, I mean, okay, so Jack loves to say, and I have taken this on. It's very sexy. Oh, there it goes. Hillary just did it.
Yeah, let me
It's
see.
a very sexy interface. It looks great. It's amazing. So we want you to try it because it truly, truly, like, it feels like exhaling whenever you
It
look
really does.
at the platform and you look how well organized everything is. And Jack is going to talk about sort of what he was thinking. But without further ado, Jack Cosentino is the founder of Splitify. He is, Splitify is a company that's completely changing how people experience divorce. So what began as like a personal mission for him to make the process less painful has grown into this global platform that is helping thousands of people navigate divorce with confidence and clarity and with less drama. Splitify gives people the structure, the insights, and the control from start to finish, which for a process that often feels like it's out of control matters so much. Splitify, and we've tried it, helps them stay calm, helps them stay organized, empowered, and saving time and money and emotional energy, which of course is the bottom line. And yes, in the UK, I think you should be here, right, Jack?
yeah,
Like, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. What? Coming to a theater near you. Yes,
Yeah, coming
absolutely.
to a theater near you. So, basically, there's nothing else like this that exists. Like, I think that that's the most amazing thing about this. What you've built, Jack, is that you've built something that didn't previously exist that people
Yes.
have probably been craving and didn't even know was possible whenever we're in the doldrums of divorce. So,
Absolutely.
can you tell? I mean, I'm going to stop talking. Go ahead, Hillary.
Uh,
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, it's something that I wish that I would have had when I went through my divorce, 3 years ago or 4 years ago now. Just because I remember like Googling things like at the time, and it's such an overwhelming process. And Splitify has completely like revolutionized how you can go about it in a way that's like Bethany said, bite-sized and manageable and less overwhelming. And we're just so excited for this. And I think that, everyone that's going through this is really gonna benefit from it. So the first thing I want to ask is just how did your own personal experience shape what Splitify is today?
and that's a
And
great
why did you
question.
create
And
it?
first of all, thank you both for having us on and really thinking about us. We, I personally was a fan very early on. You all were a voice out there in a community that has a lot of messaging, if you will. It's a very crowded space. I think on our side, it can become a very lonely time for people who are going through, what would be probably one of the most traumatic events in somebody's life. For me, it was a profoundly a real tough time, and I think I, like you, went to out there to take a look at what tools were out there, googling, trying to find some semblance of organization in an area where you're struggling and you feel like you're drowning and you're not sure how to take a breath. And so I think that's really where the concept came from. Initially, it was selfishly to organize my own material as I was going through a pretty high conflict divorce that took well over a year all the way through. And so I think in looking at the solutions that were out there, I felt as though there wasn't anything. You could Google questions, you could chat GPT questions, but realistically, it was very generic, very vanilla, and quite often could run you down a path of really bad advice in
Hmm.
so many ways. By background, I'm a super huge nerd and a big fan of data. I love the fact that data changes the subjective and makes it objective, and I think that's really where family law will be heading. And I think what we're trying to do is bring objectivity to what can be a really subjective and emotionally trying time. And so, in doing this, I had built some initial tools in order to organize myself. Anything from where do I store my documents? I mean, I had an attorney who
Yeah.
was saying, put it in Dropbox. Or put it in Google, and then 50 calls you're yielding on a regular basis of, did you send us this, and did you get this, and where do I find that? And it almost felt as though you have to reopen all of the wounds.
Yep.
I mean, text messages. You got to now reopen text messages with your ex when you're really
So true.
trying to kind of going through a healing in a sense and way. And so there had to be a better way. There had to be a better way to do it. And so I started to build these tools. I started to create tools out for others. I started to share tools, not thinking anybody would really care, but to myself, I wanted to see the data and see what we would pull in. Our tools, our free tools, really picked up, which proved it's a massive need. It's a massive unmet need. But I think in doing it, we didn't want to become just another AI company that is out there. And so I think what we're trying to do is put, like you said, structure and resolve that chaos and lack of understanding, lack of unknown, and do it in a way that's empathetic and kind, but really, again, is data over drama, which is our motto. So
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think too that the cool thing about Solidify is that it almost creates like a boundary with yourself, right? Like everything with the divorce is kind of contained in one area, whereas before, like you said, you know, people might be asking you for the same documentation over and over again. I remember I had mine just like like my just like the various all the various things that you need, like my marriage certificate and all that stuff. Like I just had it saved on my desktop. So like every time I logged onto my laptop, it's like there it is, because it was just the easiest place to get to it, because I was having to send it so often. So to have a space where you're confident that it's secure, and you're confident that it's all in one place. There's a million other reasons why Splitify is amazing, but like for me, that is just, that would have been just really critical and really, awesome to have.
That's I think it's I looked at my desktop during one time. I looked at my
Yeah.
my computer, and out was everything. I mean,
Yeah.
bank statements and messages
Yeah.
from the ex, and messages about this expense and that expense, and now you got attorney emails coming in. And what we really have done, I think, a focus on. We started with the litigant at the center,
Mhm.
and people who are thinking even about divorce. People were sitting down and saying, I don't like the situation I'm in. What are my options? All
Right.
the way to people who are filing for divorce or have been served with divorce, to people who are dealing with, say, post-divorce, post-decree issues. If it's a
Mhm.
collection on judgment, for example, if it's got to do with spousal abuse, if it's gotten to do with child custody related matters. I think on our side, what we tried to do was consolidate everything into a really nice package that you can put in your pocket. It sits on your phone, and you have it centralized. And when you're feeling out of control, when you're
Yes.
feeling in those moments of times where you want to be able to reach out to somebody. We all know, like, our friend groups. They're big, they're great, they're wonderful. But at the end of the day, what differentiates Splitify and friends and neighbors and family members is you have a centralized place where you can talk. We have an engine called Splitify IQ that's trained on just your case, and it's trained on all of your data. So the more you talk with it, the more Splitify gets to know and understand you,
Mhm.
understands all of your documentation, understands the process. If a motion comes in and you want to say, what does this motion mean to me? It's confusing. I don't
Oh my
understand it. I'm
gosh.
not an
Yes.
attorney. What does this mean? Do I get my child? Do I not get my child? Am I going to have the ability to be able to pay rent for the next week? Those are big questions that people are trying to answer. We've broken it down and consolidated it into a really simple, streamlined system that allows people to onboard very quickly. It's 9 questions. I want to say you can onboard within the interview that does really, who are you? What's your situation? What are you dealing with? What are you dealing with financially? What's your family structure? And you can do it in about 12 minutes. You can connect to your bank accounts and all your finances within putting in your telephone number, and it's all done. And so yeah, it's been very overwhelming. I'm excited because we
Yeah.
started with litigant, and now we branched into having 13 different portals where we're including anyone from guardian ad litems to attorneys to Splitify gives the judge portal and to judges and clerks away for free, in hoping to work on efficiency and really with the litigant in mind is the focus.
Yeah, I think that there's so many opportunities to streamline this process, and I just really think that you, Jack, have got a really good pulse on the steps that we need that need to be taken to do it. And we're just so excited that this exists, and we're so excited to have connected with you about it. Is this for now, this platform, can you join it if you're either in the middle of the divorce? Like, is it applicable to wherever you are in the divorce process?
Yeah, and the best part is it's yours. So what happens is, if you wanted to engage with an attorney, you could go through Splitify, get all of your documentation together, basically do all the onboarding and process, and then just simply put in your email for your attorney. Or if you're looking for an attorney, you can go through our directory as well. You can identify attorney we have AI matching that matches the proper attorney to the individual. And then you can pick up your case and you can drop it within the attorney, and then it still belongs to you. Your data is your data, which is, I
Hmm.
think, a really, really important part of being able to feel a sense of control over your
Yeah.
life, over your information, it only matters to you. When you go in front of your attorney or you go in front of the judge, you feel during that moment that you're the most important. This is the only thing that mattered. My attorney's favorite term was, "You're not my only client," he used to say to me. But to me,
Yeah,
that was the only thing that mattered.
right.
I was worried. I was scared. I had questions. I didn't have a place to go to. And so, in building this system, it's trained on. We created a data lake of about. We've harvested about 11 million or so records that it's trained on. So it knows your state and county regulations. So beyond your information, it's also trained on this data lake, which understands algorithms, understands how your judge rules, understands the things that are important to it. And so I think it's going to change the way that divorce is done for everyone.
Yeah,
The tools for attorneys, we have tools for divorce coaches and folks who are registered in the financial space, forensic accountants. And so the intent is to put together a collaborative portal, a collaborative system that groups everyone together and allows people to work collaboratively in an environment that's simple and easy to put away when you need to deal with the other half of getting on with your life.
yeah.
Right. And I truly do love the collaborative core of this, the collaborative nature, because there's so much about divorce, right, that is so antagonistical, that it's like pitting one person against the other or this party against the other party. And Splitify really does bring people together in the hopes that, maybe what we can accomplish together is going to be greater than us sort of pulling each other apart in some way, shape, or form. And then getting the legal partners, judges and attorneys on board as well, I think is really, super critical to the efficiencies that we talked about. But again, that collaboration being so important. And so what to expect. It's predictive in a way
Hmm.
because everyone's at the table, but also because there's all that great data. And again, for a process that feels so ambiguous and out of control, you know, to have something predictive and not have to also be re-traumatized multiple
Oh my
times.
gosh. Yeah.
Like, when you're explaining to each of these
Mhm.
parties, like it's all here. I mean, there's nothing I like better, at least back in the day before when I was a young professional, than saying, per my last email, like, I need you to read this, and it's right there. So, yeah,
Well, look, most people walk into divorce completely unprepared. There was a study, over 70% of litigants cannot even produce the last 12 months of financial statements when asked. This makes cases drag on for months. I mean, high conflict cases, for example, they consume the system. There was a study done, I want to say in Minnesota even, that found 10% of divorces drive 90% of the workload for the entire family court system.
Wow.
I've sat through a ton of hearings where you're sitting and you're listening to a judge go party after party after party, trying to barrel through where judges are dealing with motion abuse from attorneys who are putting together motions, but you have no idea. You're just in the fight, right? And
Right.
then at the end of it, there's this massive financial meltdown, if you will, that everyone seems to be consuming. And I think it's so easy to get into a marriage, to enter into this nuptial, and it's literally impossible to be done
Yeah.
if the other party is not willing to agree. And so Splitify broke down the system into what we really call negotiate and agree, that allows you the ability to build out what are you arguing about. So
Hmm.
if it's a child, instead of it just putting up the little button to say it's a child, we put up the picture so you understand what you're fighting for, and then you have the ability to be able to mediate together with the other individual without speaking to them. And then, if you wanted to, we built out a new feature called digital mediation that puts you into a digital mediation with them and knock out all of your
Wow.
conflict, and where you can finish and you can sign all of your conflicted issues. And when you really boil it down, it's typically what custody and financial. That's typically what it is.
Yep.
But because you can't see around yourself, the other part that we have is, as you build out these issues that you're having, you can see what they'll cost you. So we have an AI predictor that will tell you, one, based on your evidence submitted. So in order for you to build something, you submit the evidence, and it tells you Do you have substantial evidence enough to be able to defend this, or what will it cost you? And I think the secondary part, the part that's most interesting, is it then tells you there's a judge predictor, and this judge predictor pulls out the analytics based on your state, your county requirements, and even your judge if you're currently in the middle of a dispute. And it will tell you how your judge typically finds cases. And I think that's where I think the thing that differentiates us is it's not another form. We're not advocating to destroy the system tomorrow. We
Right.
just want the system to work much differently than it is. And I believe that Splitify really is in for what I would envisage what a healthy family law system should be in 5 years' time, and instead we're bringing it to the market now. So we really feel humbled every day. I love waking up to do this because I wouldn't want a human being to go through the pain and the suffering and the fear and just everything it does to you. It completely pulls away your ability to feel okay. And so I think it can be transformative.
Yeah. And I
Jack.
think that it's
Oh,
I think
oh,
it's a great
fine.
example of how knowledge is power, right? Like, I think that the thing that stops so many people from, actually pulling the trigger on the marriage, or, whatever the thing is that they're so worried about, is because it's just so hard to find information. And it's so hard to, like you were saying before, to see outside of yourself. So I love that Splitify is giving people a place to kind of just, if they're it gives them a place to actually input their information and have it come out to you in a way that doesn't involve you Googling things that may or may not be true. Because I know through my experience, like, it was confusing because there were multiple states involved. So, like, we were getting our divorce in Delaware, but I had moved back to Maryland, and then my ex was living in Pennsylvania. So it was like there were all these different jurisdictions, and I had a really hard time even finding an attorney that would work with me because of just the confusing nature of, the different guidelines and laws within each state. So, to have, and I just felt like I never was getting the straight information. So, I'm sure that I'm not the only person that has gone through something like that. And so just to have a place, like you said, a central place that is unique to your data and is built on, the data lake that you were talking about, which I feel really fancy, by the way, dropping the term data lake. Like, I
Let's
feel like
go.
I'm like, yes, I know what I'm talking about, sort of. But
Well,
yeah.
I think, one person asked, what do you do when the other person doesn't either have the financial means or is not willing to settle?
Hmm.
This system is really not built for necessarily two parties. It works very well with two
Hmm.
parties, works extremely on collaborative divorce, works extremely well because it allows you to be able to put a structure in. You don't have two people trying to put things together, and you can work collaboratively with your own logins. You can secure it all. There's a communication, a court run communication hub inside it as well. Does things that are well beyond things like our Family Wizard and others. Has some technology that is pretty sophisticated. But I think the thing that it really does is it allows you to understand the process so you can undo the process. That's the biggest challenge, is when you're in it, you don't know how to get around it, and you're waiting on your attorney. And look, attorney driven delays it's a hidden business model. The average contested divorce has 20 to 40 billable touch points that exist only to keep the parties lack in structure and financial clarity. And so, the whole translation to that is what? Chaos equals revenue. It's a really revenue driven system. And when you're in it, you don't know how to control it. And Splitify gives that control back to you to be able to say, look, I'm understanding the process. There's something called Journey in there where it tells you almost in a storytelling way. It was around my favorite What to Expect When You're Expecting book for those
Yeah.
parents who've had children. It tells you along the way of not only where you're at, but what's
Hmm.
coming next. And I think knowledge is power. I think it's enablement to treat people in the most humane way and educate people and allow people an outlet to really be in control of this high conflict time that is just it shouldn't be.
Right. Jack, one of the things I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about this is that I like about Splitify is the emotional wellness component. too. I mean, you talk about, again, the depths of emotions and the range of emotions that one experiences in divorce. But I think one of the strengths of Splitify to those emotions and how you're feeling and thinking, and acknowledge that those emotions are there throughout
Yeah,
the process.
the one Sincerely Divorced introduced me to a community of people, and that community of people are people who are out there suffering and suffering in silence, but at least they're suffering together and collaboratively. I think your messaging, your communications, a lot of your speakers who've come in give people the ability to not feel so alone. I think on the emotional side of things, our product is not just about looking at the objective nature of it, it's also in reconfiguring the way you think about the trauma around divorce, in understanding that divorce is a legal process. It's a legal
Mhm.
process. Breaking up with someone, hurting with someone. I mean, I can't tell you how many friends of mine that I know have utilized their attorney as some counselor. My attorney, but I want to say like $550 or $600 an hour or something like this. That's a very expensive counselor to me. And so we built Splitify IQ to be that kind of sounding board for you who understands everything that is going on. When you begin to work with it, it gets to understand your schedule, it gets to communicate. But that emotional side of things is very hard. I wanted to be that positioner because of the strength of groups like Sincerely Divorced, to be that outlet where the objective can sit and it can ground you to what's real, to what's in front of you, and what the next days look like. We have predictive analytic tools that will tell you what your financial picture will be pre, during, and post divorce. It allows you some semblance of control. And that's where the fears begin to come into play, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, the unknown is just, it feels so much worse
Did I
when
answer
it's
your
just
question?
ambiguous.
Did
Yes.
I answer the question? I was trying to. It broke up a little bit, and I missed parts of it.
Yeah, no, you did it. You did a great job. I mean, again, it's complicated, and that's where we, Hillary and I, really try to find balance, right? We love leaning into the humor and the absurdity of divorce as much as we talk about the realities of losing ourselves and finding ourselves and saving ourselves, and then celebrating, right?
Mhm.
Celebrating like I can sleep sideways in my bed, and I'm happy about that, and it's that range of things that really are part of this process, and peeling back the layers of it, and reshaping it, which again is
Mhm.
why we love what you're doing, because divorce just really it sounds crazy to say divorce needed a makeover, but it
Yeah,
truly did. We're in a different time and different challenges, and it's time to like leave the old ways behind, and be future looking, for your life. And if that includes the end of a long-term relationship, then that's what it includes. But there are ways to move forward, in community at the center, and technology, increasingly at the center as well. So we love that. So Jack, what would you tell someone who's like, listen, we have people that are listening at various points in the process. What's the easiest way? Again, we've talked about being overwhelmed. What's the easiest way to learn about Splitify? Because there are so many tools. Like, what is the best starting point, the best entry point for them to learn more, to get engaged in what you've built?
There's a couple ways. I think one, definitely run over to splitify.io, and that's splitifyfi.io. The other way is if you go to mysplitify.com/try-splitify, what you can do is actually run through a story. It's a story that was built on the back of one of our clients, who I had asked her if she would be okay if we did a little model on her case. And so it takes you through and breaks it down a little bit of how does it apply to you, specifically, how does it address your pain points, the things that you're suffering with. I think that's an important point. Easiest way, in my opinion, is to do that. We have some tools. If you go to mysplitify.com/tools, You've got a load of different tools that you can take a look at that are free that will help give you a little understanding of the power behind Splitify. I think the best way to really begin to use Splitify is to see how simple the onboarding process is. Once you go through that 9 question onboarding and it sets up your dashboard for you, presenting the information that's specific about you, I think then you understand the power of feeling in control. I mean, one of the biggest hurdles and obstacles in any divorce is the discovery process. It's brutal.
Hmm.
It's so brutal. It's part of every single divorce. I don't care if you're holding hands and heading into the courthouse and giving it quits. The bottom line is to understand the discovery process is the most complex. It's the biggest scam, I think, in the process. It's responsible for about 40 to 60% of all attorney fees is in the discovery
Wow.
process. And we've broken that process down to about 12 to 15 minutes in an interview. And I think those are some of the pleasure points. I mean, we do the celebration. There's confetti when you finish. When you finish with the onboarding, I think there's a lot of gamification. There's a lot of things that you like checking back in each day because the
Mhm.
dashboard changes as you evolve as well. But I think the best way to get started is really figuring out what package works for you and jumping in it.
Yeah, very good. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Hillary.
No, I was just gonna say, Jack, what is your favorite, if you had to pick one part of Splitify? Like, I mean, I know that's probably an impossible thing, but what is the thing that you're most proud of with Splitify?
I think the thing that I'm personally the most proud of, I mean, I love it all. I love,
Mhm.
I mean, I was up last night till like 4:30 in the morning, developing
Wow.
another brand new feature. And I think the thing I like is figuring out what's broken, looking at a process, breaking down a process, and thinking about all of the journeys that people go through, and figuring out if there is a way that Splitify can make um, make a significant change, because these changes become multi-generational, right? If you have trauma within a divorce, or you're a child of parents who are divorced, right, that becomes a multi-generational trauma that you carry. I mean, some child gets married, now the two parents who had been previously at war have to come together, and the child feels the trauma, even if, whether it's a custody related issue or whether you get older. I think the thing I love the most about the system completely is we're not trying to isolate anybody. We're trying to, and I think we've succeeded in being able to use data to drive better outcomes. It is an opinion. It's not an opinion. It's not that we're trying to impute a new process on how you do what you do. What we're trying to do is, by way of data, we're adjusting the system and dialing it in to
Hmm.
make it work for people, so that way what was a 12 to 18-month divorce can be done in the matter of 1 month.
It's incredible.
And yes, we
Seriously.
have a great playlist, and thank you for mentioning that. And
Yes,
so do you
Good
guys
call
as
out.
well.
and thank you. Yeah, I had to totally shout that out. Like it is wonderful. Like it
Thank you.
literally, it has such range. So I had to shout that out because it is
Thank
it
you.
is a highlight, for sure. And what was I gonna? I had a question. I got distracted by the music. I damn.
No
I was
worries.
going to say something.
No worries.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Okay, I'm back. So the other thing I think, Jack, that is really great about Splitify and that you built it is that it's bringing a male voice, and you have a team that is not just, males, right? Holly, and other colleagues who are amazing who have walked alongside you to build this.
Mhm.
But I really do love that this is an output of your experience as a man and as a dad going through divorce, that your passion is driven by that, because in the work that we've noticed in this space, right, men's voices are often diminished or just dismissed, in various ways, and some of that comes from lived experience, but in other ways it's something that we see emerge time and time again about some inequities, perhaps that men do face in this process. So I just want to acknowledge that you're welcome to speak to it, but I just wanted to say that because mad respect for that, and for
Yes.
you, stepping into a space that isn't always hospitable, for a male voice to be heard and seen and trusted.
It's
So
scary. It's scary. I think it's scary. Look, I noticed as I was going through the process, I noticed how scared my exes were. Very scared. I think on my side, I had fear of the unknown, fear of what the end result will be. I'm a bit OCD. I obsess on every detail. And so when the control of your life is in someone else's hands, representation, right? And you're just
Hmm.
another individual in their Rolodex, and they have a lot of cases, and there's a process. I noticed that you become beholden to a completely and utterly different schedule. Now, the bills, I mean, they build up and they are scary, and people do not understand how. I mean, my bills were in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and not a one in front of it. We're talking in the 200 to 300 plus thousand, which is awful, which is awful. But when you're caught in the process and you're fighting
You're
in a
desperate.
you're doing all of your what you can, and I think it's you don't realize the impact, the rollout impact of how that is long term. I think most attorneys don't use data to litigate. Family law is still run on emails, PDFs, and Word docs, and whatever they forms that you fill out and maybe you write on as well, which is very archaic in today's world, right? There's no dashboards, no metrics, no standard workflows. And in 2025, half of the process still operates like it's 1990 at this point in time.
Wild.
And it isn't that I could say they're to blame. A lot of people like to blame attorneys. I don't know a whole lot of people who love divorce attorneys. I have a cousin, for example. She's a divorce attorney down in Florida. It's not a lovely job to have, to sit and listen to people and load all day. But I can't say that they're necessarily the one who is guilty. Takes two to tango. Two people were in a relationship. Two people own the responsibilities out of it. But you should be able to sever and end that relationship and still maintain a line of dignity, even if you don't want to speak to each other ever again or see each other ever again. You don't have to destroy each other in the process.
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. And I love how all of this is kind of going into this breaking of the divorce stigma, right? Like
Mhm.
it needed a makeover, for lack of a better term. But giving people tools that can give them control over over their experience, it helps to break that stigma that still very much exists around divorce in so many different ways. And that stigma can be such a barrier to people getting help and getting knowledge and getting education about what it involves and what it means specifically to you. So, I
You
think
did
that's
you did ask me, like, do I like little tools within the platform? There's a bunch. Everything I thought of that I always wanted is what we built in. So the documentation process. You're able to pick up your documentation, take it all, throw it all into the AI engine. It automatically parses through it. It reads it. It puts it into the right folder for you. It even gives you scores relative to how it is so you may feel strongly about a piece of document, and you say, this is the evidence and this is what's going to do it for me, and this is why the judge is going to hear my issue over yours. We built an engine that will grade it. It scores it, and it tells you why, and it tells you what else you can do. I mean,
Mhm.
there are things like marital versus non-marital. I bet most people don't understand that whole process. What does that mean? So let's say your parents gave you something and they gave it to you and said, this is yours. You get into a marriage. You decide to dissolve that marriage, or the other person decides to dissolve that marriage. They believe whatever was given to you, right? Half of theirs is theirs, and half of yours is also theirs. And that's the way it goes. And so understanding those terms, understanding that terminology and what it means specifically to your county, to your state, or to your country is really critical. And those are things that we help you navigate without necessarily having to have a law degree.
Yeah, no, I love it. We love it. We, it's sexy, right? Like it's just so well done and
Thank
it's
you.
just well needed.
It'll get
So,
better. It'll get
yeah.
better even. So we're excited. We're excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the next natural step is for us to have a part two because it'll be better next week.
I know.
Like knowing Jack and knowing his work ethic and the fact that if you were here and you saw that he was up until 4:30 in the morning, there'll be new things next week that Splitify can do. So we'll just have to like come back and share that. So uh
Yeah.
I just we appreciate you and we're gonna wrap up, but like what's one thing you hope to change about the ecosystem of divorce? Like if you had to pick one thing, and there's a lot to change, but if you had to pick one,
Mm.
what would that be?
That's a good one. I think for us, if we can help one individual going through this, and I mean that's a really saying that is really simple. I think for us, the big part is changing the ecosystem. If we can see that people are operating in a more efficient and a more reasonable manner by using a system that removes the fear from people's lives, then we've done our part. Then we've done our part, and we're passionate. We're not run by a venture capital firm. We're not. We don't have outside investment, and we don't care to. It doesn't change the sky in our world. Our sole focus that we are absolutely hyper focused on is that we know family law is broken, and we know it needs a change, and it can't be just standing up on a soapbox and saying this is it, this is the change. I think it's the data that says, matter of factly, objectively, right, by doing this, taking this road rather than this road, you will have a completely different destination. And if that destination means healing and hope for people, and the ability to be able to move on with themselves, and Splitify has done its role.
Absolutely. And
I
we're
love
glad to
that.
be a partner. And that was just so well said because hope always wins.
Yep.
Um, I love that you left on that note because we believe that to our core. So, Jack,
As do we.
thank you for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for making tonight even possible for us. And I also want to shout out Hillary, who, y'all, she has
I feel better.
a
I
hundred
know.
and
Thank you.
two degree fever. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Thank you, Boo Cakes.
It's
You're
okay.
holding it together.
I could not miss out on a conversation with Jack and Splitify. So,
I
Thank
know,
you
I
so
know.
much, Hillary, for bearing it. And again, thank you to Sincerely Divorced. You guys really are on the bleeding edge of where the community of divorce needs to be. I mean, giving people the ability to feel heard and cared for and understood is a tremendous benefit. So thank you
oh,
for all you do.
thank you, Jack.
Thank
That
you,
means a
Jack.
lot.
We care deeply about you and your work, and I'm happy to support it and however we can. So we will see you soon, and take care, everyone. Thank you for
Yes.
joining.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Cheers.
All right.
Take care.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.